Hey everybody, welcome to Killing Time. This is the show that searches for entertainment that does not suck. And for those of you who wonder, hey, when will you cover something sucky? Welcome to today's episode, because we're covering the Cloverfield Paradox. I'm Ayaz Akhtar, and with me as always is Juice Pop, the man who fights alligators on Thursdays only now, for some reason. Juice Pop, Just Bob, what's up?
Not much. Ready to talk about something that sucked.
So before we get to something that sucked, let's talk about Black Panther. I get to do an early review of this. You're aware of this movie called The Black Panther?
I am aware of it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a small movie, independent art house film.
Yeah. Not going to be opening many places. You know, I don't think anyone's really. It's not on most people's radars.
Yeah, and also it's tied into some larger universe, and you have to watch tons of movies. I think 17 movies to even get an idea of what's going on. Anyway, so I got to see it early, and so I can't give any spoilers. No spoilers will be happening here. What I will tell you about this film, it's really good. It's well shot. It's incredibly acted. It's got great visuals. On the downside, it doesn't tell anything remarkably new for the Marvel Universe. We're not really seeing whoa, here's a story we've never seen before. But it definitely does an amazing job at world building, because this film just goes all over the place. And so far, I've spoiled nothing, I think. Have I given anything away?
Good job.
So I definitely recommend watching it, maybe on the largest screen you can find, maybe even in 3D, because the visuals were outstanding. The director of Creed, I believe, is the guy behind this, and he does a good job.
We've covered how much you liked Creed before, so.
He does a very, very good job. So there's our non-spoiler version of Black Panther, a review anyway. We'll have a full review much later when it's out, so you guys aren't like, wait, you guys mentioned this? No. I'm not giving anything away. So that's that. Now, from Black Panther to the Cloverfield Paradox. Now, Cloverfield Paradox dropped on Super Bowl Sunday out of nowhere.
Which was the best part of the whole movie was the way it dropped. I loved, you heard only little patterings about it. You see a commercial for it, and they say, you can go watch it tonight on Netflix, pretty much.
Yeah, so a lot of people I've read a lot of reviews on this already, because I have watched the film and I have my own opinions. And I was just kind of curious because before I picked up on watching this, I had seen some of the rumors saying that it had something like a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. It did not do well out there. And perhaps it was a great idea to release this film, at least have a teaser for it, and then a couple hours later, boom, get it out there. Because in the time it takes for those two events to happen, you don't have a lot of time for bad press to come up.
Which is why they did it this way. Yeah. Because I didn't read anything before seeing it. I didn't look at any reviews. I went in cold. I watched it pretty quickly. I actually watched it right after the Super Bowl because I couldn't go to sleep. And it was not good.
Okay, so let's go ahead, and I also agree with you on that it's not good. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. But here's the thing. It's called the Cloverfield Paradox. It was originally called the God Particle. It was being shopped around. It was supposed to be available in theaters, and then something happened. Netflix was rumored to get it, and as you guys know, spoiler alert, Netflix did get it and dropped it on Sunday. Now, the film has some kind of connection to the other Cloverfield movies, 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield, which I think is about 10 years old now. The linking between these three films is tenuous at best, I will say. Although the third one has a much more obvious link than the second one to the first.
Right. Well, the story behind the second one is this was not a Cloverfield movie. The script was written as just kind of a thriller with these people stuck in a shelter with the creepy character, and Abrams picked it up and turned it into a Cloverfield connected story. And the word is the same thing kind of happened with this. It was a kind of sci-fi run-of-the-mill thing that he polished up, added some Cloverfield references, and turned it into part of his world, I guess.
Now, the trailer says, find out why that thing happened 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we have this monster movie. We're looking at the Cloverfield monster, and he's attacking New York City, and it's a found footage film, and I didn't get it at first, and then we watched it again, and I was like, wait a minute, this movie's actually awesome. And that's actually a really old episode of Killing Time. So we actually have an episode from back then
that
covers this exact movie, the first one anyway. And in this film, Cloverfield Paradox, it could just be a run-of-the-mill. These guys are trapped in. Think Sunshine. You've seen the movie Sunshine? Mm-hmm. This is like a really bad version of Sunshine.
Right, and Sunshine was done probably on a less budget too.
And Sunshine also was a beautiful movie. It was well acted. It looked great. It had kind of a stupid ending, I will say. The ending kind of turned into a horror movie. And like, oh, look, the unstoppable guy. It's like, okay, we've seen that before. You don't need that.
Yeah.
And in this film, do you want to even explain the plot of this thing? Because there's not much to it.
There's not much to it. So we got a group of people. So the world has a shortage of fossil fuels. We're going to run out of energy. So they send these people up to a space station to test a small particle collider in hopes of making reusable energy. And the problem is they create so much energy from this thing that they create a tear in the dimensions, send themselves to another dimension, and somehow open the tear so that these monsters can come somewhere else. Spoilers all over the place. Don't worry. You know that in like the first 5 minutes.
I'm going to hit the spoiler bumper anyway.
Yes. Now, the problem
Go for it.
Go. Now, the problem I have is this thing looks like a sci-fi channel original type movie that would pop up on a Friday night or something that they tried to polish up and make a Cloverfield important thing, and it was like polishing a turd. It just doesn't work.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, on Mythbusters, they actually did polish a turd, and it was shiny enough that it did work.
Oh, I thought you meant the movie,
No, so the film definitely feels like this standard, we're stuck on a ship, and some weird shit's happening. Now, because of this paradox, they keep calling it a paradox. Now, I don't think that's what the word means in the context they're using it, because in the beginning of the movie, they talk about the Cloverfield ship. That's what the ship is called. And if they go ahead and use this particle accelerator, it could cause a rift through time and space where monsters could be coming out in the past, in the future, in different dimensions. Okay, that's cool. It's not a paradox. Yeah. It's a dimensional rift of some kind, or some kind of multiverse collision, or whatever you want to call it, or some kind of time event. But it's not a paradox necessarily, unless I guess if the event never happens, then how does it happen? But whatever. So don't lose in the beginning, just blathering on like a lunatic. And that's our full exposition. During the course of the movie, you have this ragtag set of international people. You've got Baron Zemo from...
Yes, Baron Zemo, that's right.
Playing Schmidt. And you have the guy from It Crowd. He's playing the handy guy. He's funny. Then there's a couple other people. There's a woman who's on the ship who has lost 2 of her children due to some kind of issue, some kind of fire at her house. But in this new dimension, her kids are alive, and she wants to talk to her husband. And another lady shows up from another ship onto the actual ship. So now we've got all this, who are you? I don't trust you. What's going on here kind of stuff. Because the woman from the other dimension doesn't trust Schmidt and many of the others because she doesn't find them to be trustworthy because they're not her people. Then they're also worried about her, the blonde lady, because she's also new. Who is this Jensen? Who cares about Jensen? So during the course of this, we have some of the dumbest events that happen to anyone. Like, okay, Chris O'Dowd's walking around and he's fixing something on the wall there. And the spoiler, big
this
spoiler.
One's good. This one's good.
If you saw the teaser trailer, you know where this is going. His arm gets sucked into the wall, and then he gets kind of jerked around in the wall for a while, and then he is released from the wall. His arm has been cut off. He has no pain whatsoever, and then he's kind of dealing with that. As he's dealing with that, they find his arm moving around.
He's not making this up, people. He's not making this up. This actually happens.
This is in the movie, right? This sounds like when I make up a nickname for you. It's like, this is all true, though. In the film, Chris O'Dowd's arm is found clacking around, think the Thing from Addams Family, but up to here, okay? Up to the bicep. So they pen in the arm in a glass box, because it's got to be glass so we can see it. And then you see the hand, because if you don't have a glass box, this doesn't work. You see the hand, it's trying to write something down. So in the pen, they give the hand a pen, which then instructs the team to go or look inside one of the fallen members of the crew who dies of an alien-style death. Like, he kind of spits up worms and he's kind of put away. And, all right, fine. What killed him? Do we actually know what killed him? Volkov?
I figured the worms. I figured when they went through the dimension, the worms ended up in his body.
They go into his body, and at one point, by the way, he's like looking in the mirror, real like
his
intense,
eyes.
like his eye goes to the left, and you're like, "Whoa, what was that?" There's really not a hell of a lot of explanation here. Why do worms want to control the inside of your body? I don't know. That's what they want to do with Volkov. So they go into Volkov's body, and they find a very, very important part for the ship.
In his body.
Yeah. So the MacGuffin's there. You need this
Yeah.
thing. Here it is, and it can help you have the particle acceleration event happen again. Sure, it works. I'm really glad that when things are moving and trying to exist in the same time and space, they exist together. Like, if a person's slightly moving, shouldn't parts of the items be located in different parts of the person, thereby messing up the actual construct? I don't know. I've never tried to exist in two places at once. Not a scientist. Not one of those guys. Not a physicist. I need Barry Allen in here, or H.R. Wells for this shit. So, what else happens in this movie? So, by the way, one of the characters, Volkov, earlier on, produces a gun from the 3D printer, and he starts to threaten people, but that's not a problem. Blonde Lady Jensen from Other Dimension says she will not allow this other team to go back because she'll be stranded with this other dimension. Her planet will be ruined because her Cloverfield ship crashed into the Earth.
Right.
Okay.
And don't forget that when she showed up, she was part of the wall.
Yes, she's part of the wall. That's right. They hear like a clanging, and they remove part of the wall, and you can see this woman's got like cables coming through her face and partly through her hands and things, and you're like, you know what? You think you would have noticed that when you packed the ship.
But she did clean up pretty fast. You know, they got her out of there. She looked pretty good after that.
Jensen does get taken care of quite quickly. She heals very rapidly. It's the future, sure. Maybe that's fine. Maybe,
okay.
Let's get that.
Let's just go with it. Yeah.
So we got Jensen, we've got Chris O'Dowd. This is the thing. I think his name is actually Monday or something like that. So we got all these characters, and they're stuck with these paranormal events, essentially. There's one event, which I still don't understand. Chris O'Dowd, again, is stuck in a room because that's what he does. And
the entire time.
The wall becomes extremely magnetic. And so he starts looking at it as stuff flies off of his body. And then the stuff he's been using to seal off items are magnetic. So that's very helpful to this. So you have to electrify, it kind of fills in a joint. Think of it like as some kind of electrified caulk, right? C-A-U-L-K.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, for those of you who think I'm talking with a very thick New York accent. So,
yes.
This stuff starts coming after him, like behind him. And you're seeing it, and then instead of going through him, it kind of goes around him and kind of pulls him back. No explanation why the magnetism event happens at all. At least I don't think so.
No, they never explain it. It just happened.
That's the other thing that bothers me. This was not a spectacular death. There was, I believe, one spectacular death in this movie, and I believe that was Agent Tam. I think that was her name.
Yeah.
She gets stuck in an airlock, I guess, and it fills with water, and then the door busts, and then the water freezes, and she's stuck in it. That was very creative. Cool. Very creative death. What caused that? No idea. There really is no reason. It's not like the ship became sentient, or it's like, okay, while it's still trying to figure out how to be in two dimensions at once, these kinds of issues...
We have no idea why these things are happening. They never really even explain it.
No, there's no explanation. And this isn't like Cloverfield where they're like, okay, there's no room for explanation. There's no reason why they shouldn't explain this, because everyone on the ship should be trying to figure out why this is happening, because they're losing people regularly.
Yeah. They just assume, oh, it's because we're in another dimension, let's go home.
Yeah, because other dimensions have ships that are sentient and trying to kill them. The ship's not sentient either, by the way. There's no reason for this happening. So we've got all of these characters being picked off one by one. And meanwhile, every now and then we get a shot of Hamilton's husband, who's still on Earth, And there's some implications that there's some kind of destruction going on. There are rumors, at least one of the reports says that there are wars breaking out due to the fact there's a lack of energy.
Yes, explosions and things being destroyed, and then he ends up in a bunker.
Yeah, so he's in a bunker with a little girl. He's trying to call people, trying to get to his wife, and he can't, and they're going back and forth. So let's just fast forward to the end here. Of course, Jensen picks off like everybody except the main character who's got a husband on Earth. Hamilton, right? So Hamilton versus Jensen. Guess who wins? Good guy or bad guy?
The good guy.
Good guy wins, right? Good guy wins. And then,
in a very anticlimactic kind of way.
Yes, because she blows her out a window.
Yeah, like that never happens. Okay.
Okay, so we get that far. And by the way, guys, if you're like, hey, should we watch the movie after this? Don't. This is way more entertaining.
No. I had to. It was late, and I don't know why I forced myself to watch it. I forced myself to watch it so we could talk about it today. That's why.
Okay, before we get to the end of this story, let's thank our patrons. You guys have been suffering with us this entire time. Thank you so much for putting up with us. Because without you guys, we could not do this show. If you want to help support the show, as little as $1, as whatever you want to give. If you want to give us more than $1, that's awesome. These guys give us about $10 per month, and that's how they get their names up on video credits. Patreon.com/IAS. We thank everybody who supports this show. On to the conclusion of the Cloverfield Paradox. So Hamilton is going to go back to Earth. Schmidt is not dead. I believe he's also going with her in an escape pod. They're going to be sent back to Earth. Sam Hamilton.
Wait. After they turn back on the particle thing and get back to their dimension. First they do that.
All right, they go back to their dimension.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. Oops.
Don't forget that. So back to their dimension, and now they're going to go back to Earth.
Going back to Earth, they have a little capsule. They're going to come down, and there's a phone call, and Hamilton's really excited. His wife's coming back, and then he's like, wait a minute, you send her back here? He gets less excited. But he's pretty excited. He's more angry, though. He's like,
he's flipping out. Why are you sending her back here? It's horrible, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, with those things out there. And so we get to the final 40 seconds of this movie. We see the capsule coming down, and they're going to land somewhere in Delaware, at least off the coast of Delaware. So this is not the thing that happens in Cloverfield 1 that happens in Coney Island, because Coney Island is far from Delaware.
Right.
Okay? Geography, which I'm really bad at. So this thing
comes
down.
It's also supposed to be 10 years later.
It's 10 years later or 10 years before?
No, they say, because Cloverfield, if you remember the movie, it's 2008 or 9 or something like that.
And this is from the future. That's why.
And this is, but remember, this paradox would change the past, so whatever.
Okay, so it could rip open all the time. So
yeah. So whatever.
As we have this descent, and we get to the cloud level, so the cloud level is about halfway filling the screen. A giant, what appears to be a Cloverfield monster, similar to, not exactly the same, because there's no way in hell it's the same one because it's gigantic. Comes through the clouds, roars, and we're done. Not worth watching.
No.
Some people thought that it might be better on a larger screen. Maybe this had some visuals that look better there. I could see that.
Okay.
But I don't think that would save this film at all. It's really, it's flat. Like, you could watch a Black Mirror episode and be just as excited, if not more excited.
More excited. Black Mirror, tighter, better twists, better acting. Not that the acting was bad. It wasn't a terrible movie. It just was nothing. It was just a standard sci-fi fare. Not what you come to expect from, J.J. Abrams kind of project.
Yeah, go watch Sunshine instead, okay?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Way better movie. Way better overall. They actually care about what's going on. And you can just pretend that the Cloverfield monster shows up somewhere.
Yeah. It's all good.
That's all you got to do. Or
what they're succeeding in is making the original Cloverfield movie look better.
Yes, I guess so.
Comparison.
But, I heard the fourth one's already wrapped. It's ready for shipment in October. There is a fourth Cloverfield movie. It's coming. Whether it's going to make theaters or not, we'll see. But you can totally skip the third one unless you want to watch a lousy sci-fi movie. It's totally serviceable. But because it's called Cloverfield, I think that's where it gets hit.
You expect too much of it. Yeah, if they had just left it the God Particle, had nothing to do with Cloverfield, it would have been like, I've watched a couple of standard sci-fi type movies on Netflix that are Netflix originals. Not terrible. That's what it felt like.
Right, I think with that, we have to get out of here because we have gone 20 freaking minutes. And you guys are listening to us.
We promised you we would talk about something that sucked. We did.
And boy, did we. Let's get out of here. We do Killing Time once a week. We try to get these episodes out as soon as I can. I was really sick last week, so I'm really sorry about being late on everything, but hopefully this one will be up sooner than later. So we'll see everybody next time on Killing Time.